folks. None of this is my fault. It's all going in that direction. So please help me welcome up our wonderful Liberace minister, Reverend Mark Johnson.
It is my fault. I take personal responsibility for it. I knew the truth. I knew it was time to move. And I thought consciousness needs to move. And that's what I do. And so I just invited her. It's time to come over here. But I also knew that Kathy said, I think I'm baked now, fully baked. So see, she wanted to retire, and we need to do that sometimes. Of course, as ministers, we never really retire. We just rewire, actually, to the relative world. So how many of you are enjoying the sunshine today? You can thank Reverend Beverly. She said to me, what's it like in Scottsdale right now? I said, oh, it's glorious sun. She said, would you please bring that thing over here when you come? I said, I think I can rope it. I think I'll just rope it and bring it with me. So I did. You're going to have plenty of sunshine while I'm here, for sure. How many of you have felt like you have a purpose and a destiny here? Okay, some of you don't feel that way, and it's okay because you're still in what I call discovery. But being your authentic self is really the way to find out what you really want to do in this world. And that means that you can't be a chameleon anymore. You can't chameleon to your relationship to be the perfect wife, or you can't chameleon to be the perfect husband. You have to be who you are. The idea for me of going out and searching, which is what I was trained to do in my domestication of me from birth, was to go out and find my love. Guess what? It ain't out there. It's in here. And when I finally realized that I am my greatest partner, then it attracted my greatest partner, because I didn't really have any kind of agenda to get anything from that person. I was whole, complete, and perfect, the way I am with my human craziness. And I thought, if they don't like me like that, then I'll just be my best partner. And interestingly enough, God went, oh no, you have some things we need to forgive. I'm going to give you a partner so you can look at those. I was like, oh my God, thank you for that. Well, there's one thing that saved me. There's a saying in the Course in Miracles that says, when you're in a reaction of what I would call activation from your partner, you say, there may be another way of looking at this. I know I'm right, but I may want to just learn from this partner. So that's the opportunity we have all the time with everyone, because everyone really is your partner. They're just mirrors of you. Everything's a mirror of us. So today, we have, I have to put these on because I'm over 50 for sure. So, our global theme is living out loud. Well, that really relates pretty much to me, because I have always lived out loud, pretty much, but then I tried to do dances for other people, tried to be the perfect person for someone else. But ultimately, I realized I just need to be the perfect person for myself. So what is that about me? What is it that I really enjoy? It's the inner child. It's not the accomplishments that I got in school and all the letters behind my name and all that stuff. That was because I felt not enough. I went to all that effort to find out that I didn't need all that stuff. But as I learned to play, which I've always done, but when I really learned to let my child just really have fun and go swimming with Beverly with the turtles chasing her, or when I do that, then I have self-love and I feel it and I can share it with other people. If you don't love yourself, how on earth is anybody going to come and be with you? What do you have to give? The Course calls that a special relationship where you're looking for something from someone to get something, like, oh, maybe they'll do this for me. That's a special relationship. What we really want is a holy relationship, which is where I'm wholly loving myself, and I may have the feeling of presence of another person feeling that love within me, extending to that. So that's a holy relationship. So our global theme is living out loud. Our monthly theme is cultivating authenticity. And I have to say that's a really good one for me too. Cultivating authenticity means taking off the masks that we wear. And so my talk is dropping the masks. You don't need them. Not especially here at CSL. We're very human. We do a lot of things, and we make errors, and that's okay. And things happen. And that's just part of evolution. So how many of you have seen a baby that's just born and can't take your eyes off of their eyes? That's because they are the light. And they are on automatic absorb. They don't have the skills to understand or disagree with you until they're about 2. And then they're like, no. So unfortunately, my mother, who, bless her heart, had to listen to me say no to her forever. She was always telling me, because I said so. And I said, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, she was really saying, because. I thought, oh, I didn't get that as a child, obviously. So when we come into this planet, we are the light of the world. I'm going to take a little test for you guys. Say to yourself, I am a light in the world. Now let's see your ego just really jump on this one. I am the light of the world. That feels very arrogant, doesn't it? You feel like, ooh, I don't know. If they knew what I did and what I'd done, they didn't even know I was the light of the world. But guess what? You are the light of the world. You have always been the light of the world. You just got domesticated, just like we train our babies and our cats and everything else how to behave. It's okay not to behave, because the truth is you have to find out what and who you are. Who you are has been developed by domestication. And let's be really compassionate with our parents, because our parents were people that were trained by people that had all these belief systems too. And so we naturally, being children, absorb all these belief systems and think that's how our life is. If you want to see what's in your subconscious mind, simply look around you. 95% of your brain is bringing up the subconscious mind all the time. How do we know what something is? By comparison. But that's not in the moment. You may see a flower and think, well, that's kind of like this flower. No, it's exactly what it is. Why label it? But we're our labelers. We label everything. We want to live. The truth of the light in you is beyond your labels, beyond your domestication. It is the love of God in you. And what were you created out of? The Creator. There's nothing else other than God. So how could you be bad, wrong, and awful? Well, you can be, because in Science of Mind we teach you, your thoughts create your reality. So what are you thinking? Stinking thinking about yourself? Here's a test for you. Ernest said this very clearly when he said, humanity is divinity wearing masks. And the masks that we use all the time are just defense mechanisms. The masks are simply like, well, I know. No, you don't. You may think you know, and you may know something from the past that you're trying to put into the present, but it won't happen because it's not there and it's not true, and you figure that out. And in the Course it says, which was one of my favorite things, do you want to be happy or right? They're totally different. And I've been right with my partner for many years. But I have given up and want to be happy, and he doesn't understand why there's no conjecture all the time. I'm like, well, I'd rather be happy than right, so I'll just be happy, and you go along and do all your stuff. That's your belief system. So Ernest said this, we are greater there's a power greater in us, and we can use it. What are your thoughts focused on? That's what your reality is going to be. Whatever your, I have to ask you, what are your inner conversations? Do they go like this? Well, I really made a big mistake there. Oh, gosh, I'm undeserving. Oh, look what I did. I'm so unlovable. How could I possibly be forgiven? Are those the conversations? Because they're producing your outer thing. So people say, I don't know how I got myself in this situation. I went, you drew it to you by your inner conversations. It's time now to have loving conversations with yourself. I'm here, I'm healthy, I feel good, I have enough money, and all those, and your ego will be like, what do you mean you have enough money? Are you out of your mind? You need more, 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 more. That is your ego. It is there to keep you to survive. But it is not the truth. The truth of you, you were born pre-approved and you've been looking for approval ever since. We've all been looking for approval. We've been all subject to other people's opinions. When we're growing up from 0 to 7, we're just like little sponges going, wow, I guess that means this. And then we wonder when we're like 60 years old, when we have this, with this situation appear, you think, well, that's really strange. Wonder what that means. Well, you don't remember what it means because at 1 or 3, none of you probably can even remember what happened because you were on download and you got all of their thought systems. The road to heaven is releasing those. And your ego will say, well, who would I be if I released all those? You'd be God. You'd be a child of God. And you'd live in peace of mind. That's the reward of letting go of the past. And letting go of all the masks that we hold. You know, I hold the mask of being a minister. I hold the mask of being a psychologist. I hold the mask of all these. That's not me. Those are just things I did. The truth is, we are all the light of the world. And I'm the light of the world. You're the light of the world. And you have the opportunity to shine that light or to try to blend with somebody else's light. It's your light is your light. That's authenticity. Be who you are. You think, well, I'm not that good a person. Yes, you are. You really are. If you look at the things that you do selflessly and you love people, you're extending love. And that's the only purpose we have here on this planet, is to extend love. And whatever way we do it, that's the way that's your personal path. You know, maybe you're an acupuncturist. Maybe this is what you do, but you love your patients. There it is. And you love what you're doing. And you love yourself enough to take time off. My acupuncturist going over to the Waikoloa Hilton. And she said, I'm so excited because I've been so busy. And I said, thank God you're doing that. That's a good thing. Go there. Be there. Have fun. Swim in the ocean. Have your child come out and play. Eat big ice cream cones if you want to. She's like, I don't think I'll do that. So I think the other thing is the conversations really have to change. And you're in charge of them. Nobody can fix you. But you have to be aware that you're having those conversations. And if you get into foundations, you will become quite aware of them. The classes that we offer teach you what your conversations, to listen to yourself and to see what you're saying about yourself. There's some things like Freud had it as a Freudian slip. I always thought it was a woman's garment, but I didn't know any better. So the truth of it is, a Freudian slip is where the subconscious goes through to the conscious mind, and you're like, why did I say that? I just misspoke myself. I just said something that I don't even believe. And you think, where did that come from? That came from your subconscious mind. That is a belief that you need to offer to the Holy Spirit within you, or the higher self, if you prefer. And say, I don't know how to do this. I'm willing to forgive this. All you need is this much willingness. Jesus said, a mustard seed. That's how big you need, the little willingness. So, liberation, I'm having liberation breathing session this next weekend. You're all welcome to come. If you're ready to release and relinquish some of the layering of domestication that you had. It's okay to come with an intention. What do I want to let go of? Because I don't do it. The Holy Spirit does it through me. I've learned that a long time ago because I'm like, these are miracles. How's that happening? I'm not doing this. How's this working? It's because I surrender the day before to the Holy Spirit to whatever needs to be released in the group. So it's really hard to do. It's a complicated process of simply breathing in a certain way. Your ego's like, well, that won't work. Where's the struggle and sacrifice? I went through enough struggle and sacrifice when I was a therapist. Enough. I resigned. So you're welcome to come, and nobody would turn away. And if you come, bring something for a floor mat or something. I say yoga mat is the best because it takes and feels better, and it keeps you insulated from cold concrete. Now, there is something I want to say about Ernest Holmes. He said a couple things that I think are really good. That he said here, I am the light of the world. Jesus was not referring to his human personality, but to the principle inherent in generic man. To follow the inner principle shall have the light of life, and for this principle is life. So the light of God is behind all of your belief systems. And by releasing those, the light can come through you much easier. It's kind of like a filter on your vacuum cleaner that's clogged with all these things and stuff. This liberation breathing is about simply taking the filter out and shaking it out and saying, enough, I want some suction here. So, I mean, you're like walking around like this, like, this doesn't work very much at all. So this is what we're going to clean your filters if you're willing. The Holy Spirit is. The second thing that Ernest said that I thought was really great is this. He said, where are you? Each of us must seek that beam of light within and follow it to the great light, the light that is in everything. We must acquiesce to it and surrender all that has made us unhappy, all that has isolated us from it. Only then can God fully pronounce himself through us and in us and personalize himself as us. The God self of you wants to be fully acknowledged. And sometimes it looks irrational. Sometimes it looks crazy. But if it's fun, it's God. You may think, I can't jump off that cliff because if I do, I could drown. That's your ego. How many times have you drowned? Never. So take the challenge. Take the challenge. Yeah. The other thing that's really interesting that I'm just going to touch on a couple things. One thing is I've got a new book, and I have 1 million books that are on my list to read, but because I know the author, I had to read this one because I kept getting the Holy Spirit say, have you read that book yet? Have you read that book yet? And I'm like, okay. So I read this book, and I highly recommend if you really enjoy entertainment plus really looking at it as aspects of yourself and seeing some really interesting parts of yourself. And that is our person, Shelley, right here, Shelley Pearson, that she did this one. It's excellent. And I love Shelley because she has such an entertainment probably thing that goes on. So you're like, wow, that's pretty cool what they did. Well, look at that. And she changed all the names of the people, obviously. So we don't, because we know, I knew I was like, oh, maybe that's me. So it's wonderful. I want to leave you with this thought. The greatest gift that God has given us and me is imagination. Each of us can imagine what we want in our lives. Now, don't outline for God, I want a Mercedes that has blah, 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 blah. That's your ego. How about transportation that takes me there and I feel good in it all the time? Who knows? It might be a Corolla. No, or it might be whatever. But imagination is ultimately God's greatest gift. So what are you imagining? If you watch the news, you're imagining the end of the world. So I don't watch the news. I leave that to my partner. Okay, You go over there and tell me all about who died today. Okay, fine. There's about 8 million of us that didn't, but okay. So ultimately, what we look at and focus on creates our outer reality. So let's imagine heaven now. You're in it already. You've imagined yourself. I acknowledge Ben, who came from Michigan, because he's another Midwestern person that finally went, I've had enough of ice, snow, and craziness. I'm out of here. And his partner, he said, where do we go? And they end up on the big island of Hawaii. Say, congratulations, you found heaven, at least as close as you can get to this world. So please use your imagination and know the truth that you're set free with your imagination. You may have whatever you desire, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone else and it's something that brings joy to you. And so it is.